Ever heard of code switching? Some of us are intimately familiar with this concept and its costs. So to help us understand this behavior a bit better and to probe deeper into how harmful it can be, we've got psychotherapist Marci Gray here with us. And Marci, it's so good to see you here in studio with me. How are you?
I'm good. It's so great to be in studio, Tracy.
It's nice to get past the little, the boxes and the Zooms and what have you. So it's nice to have you here in real life. Let's start by just breaking down, for folks who don't know, what is code switching?
So code switching is when we change our appearance, our behavior, our conduct or conversation and speech, so that we're assimilating and kind of wanting to impress those who are in our workspace. So it's a tactical approach to interracial relationships and interpersonal relationships in the workplace.
Okay, and you've got sort of some specific examples of how code switching might take place. Let's talk about behavior.
So behaviors, so we're trying to be proper and not too ghetto. So it's like, you come to work with your work self and you leave maybe your black self at home.
Yeah.
So it's trying to be proper in your conduct and what we would deem as professional, right? But that's kind of a Eurocentric kind of perspective, so we want to kind of look at that. So that's our behaviors. In terms of our conversation, it's not being as ethnic in our conversation. It is trying to not have our maybe Caribbean dialect and our language, not having an accent, but really trying to speak proper English. In terms of our just appearance and attire, not coming into the workplace with our natural hair. Sometimes our natural hair is not considered to be as professional as straight hair. So then we code switch and we do what looks more professional or proper in the workplace.
It's duplicitous is what it is.
It is.
But it's survival.
It is.
It's also what it is. So if it's leaning into sort of the majority, it's leaning into the majority. Why is code switching problematic? Like, what's wrong with it? This is what we've been taught. This is how we've sort of been told that we need to function in the world, but it can be a problem.
It can be problematic, Tracy, because it's exhausting. It can be psychologically exhausting. So those who code switch report higher levels of burnout in the workplace because you're always trying to be on and be something sometimes that you're not. And also, it's not working. So we do it because it's a trade-off, because we're hoping that we'll be more accepted, that we will get promotions, and it's not working, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So in terms of statistics, we're looking at 80% of Blacks, Canadians, are still feeling racism in the workplace, unfortunately. And 97% of Black workers are finding that they'd rather stay online than go into the workplace. So remote work is really popular. And that's avoiding code switching, avoiding microaggressions in the workplace, because you can be your authentic self. You can wear your head wrap, whether you're on camera or off camera, and feel okay with that, rather than being in the workplace where there's a lot more judgment, you're afraid to not be appearing professional, and you're afraid of some stereotypes that sometimes can occur.
But I'm wondering, what's the alternative? Like, what is the alternative to code switching? Because code switching is not just something that is sort of put on you by society. It also happens a lot in our households. A lot of us have been raised under major respectability politics, and it's this is how you must behave in the world. You keep your hands out of your pockets, you maintain eye contact, you're very polite because you don't want to give anyone a reason to dislike you anymore. So what's the solution here?
Right. So with code switching, you're right. There's so much that we try to do, and we're taught what's proper from home. And so we try to play that out in the workplace. But we want to start to challenge some of that, right? We want to start to challenge some of what the notions, Eurocentric notions of what proper and what professional is. Like our black hair, that's what grows from our head. Let's wear it, and let's wear it proud. So we want to start to even look at our policies within our workplace, our dress code policies. Sometimes they exclude things that are too ethnic, or our ethnic hair attire, cultural attire for Black people. So we want to start challenging some of that. We want to be able to show up as our authentic selves a little bit, and I know that's hard, but we want to start to challenge some of that. Studies show that if you can have a multicultural workplace, it is more accepting for racialized people, and racialized people feel a lot more comfortable because they're able to be themselves.
Yeah.
And so feeling like themselves, they feel appreciated, and then you get more out of them in terms of work. And so it's better than a colorblind workplace where you're not seeing color, you're not seeing differences. You don't want to do that. You actually want to embrace multiculturalism and embrace color and differences.
Absolutely, you got to be real about it, right?
Absolutely.
And I think also, yeah, as the complexion of the workplace changes, these things become more comfortable in terms of talking about them. T and I spend a good amount of time talking about this stuff in the makeup room. So code switching is like a way of life. I wouldn't even think twice about it. You code switch?
I do it because I want to keep my job. I feel like we have to. Like, naturally who I am too, I'm a little bit more aggressive. I'm a little bit more, well, I wouldn't want to use the word aggressive, but I'm blunt.
Yeah.
I'm very
yeah.
straightforward.
Yeah.
And it can be perceived as aggressive. And so a lot of the times I have to temper my opinions, saying certain things because I don't want to be labeled as the angry black woman, the difficult black woman. So I don't say a lot. I don't give my opinions a lot. I just kind of sit there and be quiet. And that's more code switching for me because naturally I'm very opinionated.
That's right.
But
yeah.
I feel like sometimes if I'm saying something against something that somebody in the room is saying, I will be perceived as difficult.
Yeah.
That angry black woman who's always opposing something.
Yeah.
So that's mainly where I code switch a
So
lot.
I actually saw a video on Instagram of a black woman who said she actually doesn't say much at all
Yep.
because she can do her job without saying anything, and now she's being penalized for being quiet.
Right.
I go through that too.
Right?
So people like want me to say
So
something
it's sort
and
of
I
like,
speak.
why aren't you getting along? How come you're not
Yeah.
saying good morning? Like she's trying to play it safe by not saying anything, and she's still being penalized. So I think the bottom line is that it's a tough thing to navigate. It's a tough thing to navigate in the workplace. I agree with you, Mars, that we have to start doing things to buck the trend, but at the same time, it's hard to be that person in that space and do that.
It is.
You know? So it's an ongoing conversation, and T, thank you so much for weighing in. We love it.